Oh, do you have Daniel's? No, we gotta go in the order it's on the agenda. I think we did that intentionally. Because the first one was. No, the first one is I call to order the August 2nd, 2016 special public meeting of the Cincinnati Board of Education. We welcome everyone and request that everyone in the audience please silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mrs. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
Present.
Ms. Bolton?
Present.
Mrs. Hoffman? Here. Ms. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Manera? Mr. Nelms?
Here.
President Copeland Dansby?
Present. We have a couple items of business today, and so I will get us started with a couple remarks. Today we have a couple resolutions before us. One, determining to proceed with the submission of a tax levy, and second, a resolution declaring a shared vision and plan for preschool expansion. So before we get started, I'd like to personally thank my colleagues who sit here at the table with me, our hardworking administration, our audience members who I see as several of the co-chairs for Cincinnati Preschool Promise, the business community, providers, community leaders, experts, and the community at large for helping us to get to the point where we are today. For members of the public, this has been a really invigorating process for us to pen these resolutions, and so you'll hear all about them word for word today. Yeah, we'll just go with the first one. So, Ms. Hoffman, would you please present the resolution for board consideration?
Sure. I submit a resolution determining to proceed with the submission of a tax levy at 7.93 mils, and I submit the resolution as written.
Thank you. I think it would be to the benefit of the community. I'm sorry, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. I think it would be to the benefit of the community if we do take the time to read this, and so it's pretty lengthy, so rather than one person read, let's do our favorite round robin, and we will start with Ms. Hoffman.
Sure.
And we'll just take one whereas per person.
Okay. Whereas this Board of Education, at its meeting on the 23rd day of May 2016, by resolution duly adopted, determined the necessity of levying a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of this school district for the purpose of providing for the emergency requirements of this district in the amount of $48 million per year for a 5-year period, and provided that the question of levying said additional tax shall be submitted to the electors of said school district at an election to be held on November 8th, 2016, and
Whereas the county auditor has certified to this Board of Education that the total current tax valuation of the school district is, ready? $6,054,466,250, and then the estimated average annual levy, assuming that the amount of the tax list of this school district remains throughout the life of the levy, the same as the amount of the tax list for the current year, required to produce said annual amount is 7.93 mils for each $1 of valuation, which amounts to 79 3/10 cents for each $100 of valuation. And
Whereas this Board of Education anticipates using the revenues generated from the tax levy for expanding quality school options, including strengthening neighborhood schools, preparing students for college and careers, and improving students' workforce readiness, investing in technology, preschool expansion in CPS, as well as through community providers, and generating operating expenses. And
whereas this Board of Education will apply $15 million annually of the $48 million proposed levy proceeds toward the expansion of quality preschool through Cincinnati Public Schools and community providers. And
whereas this levy offers a shared vision and a path forward to provide our community a unique chance to bring people together in a powerful and historic way to transform the lives of our children and their families. Together, Cincinnati Public Schools and the Cincinnati Preschool Promise can both significantly expand access to preschool and strengthen our pre-K through 12 public school system, giving more children a great start and a great school. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Cincinnati School District of the City of Cincinnati, Section 1. I got it. She got the back.
she got it.
Thank you. Section 1,
The resolution,
that
please.
it is hereby determined to proceed with the submission to the electors of the question of levying the additional tax described in the preambles hereto at the election to be held on November 8th, 2016, under authority of Section 5705.194 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Section 2, that the treasurer of this Board of Education be and is hereby directed to certify the following to the Board of Elections. A, the resolution of this Board of Education determining the necessity of said additional tax and said election. This resolution, the total current tax valuation of this school district and the amount of the average tax levy expressed in dollars and cents for each $100 of valuation, as well as in mills for each $1 of valuation, as calculated and certified by the county auditor, and the number of years said levy is to run, and to notify the Board of Elections to cause notice of such election to be given as required by law.
Section 3, that the form of ballot upon which the question of levying said renewal tax shall be submitted to the electors shall be substantially as follows. Proposed tax levy. Cincinnati School District of the City of Cincinnati. A majority affirmative vote is necessary for passage. Shall a levy be imposed by the School District of the City of Cincinnati, County of Hamilton, Ohio, for the purpose of providing for the emergency requirements of the school district in the sum of $48 million per year, and a levy of taxes to be made outside of the 10 mil limitation estimated by the county auditor to average 7 93/100 mils for each $1 evaluation, which amounts to 79 3/10 cents for each $100 evaluation for a period of 5 years, commencing in 2016, first due in calendar year 2017. Ms. Bates, Section 4.
That it is found and determined that all formal actions of this Board of Education concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this Board of Education, and that all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Is there any discussion or comments?
Well, first of all,
Mr. Nelms.
I would like to say this is a very lengthy process, and a lot of what we do as board members is to make sure that we represent the public that we serve, and we oftentimes talk not only publicly but privately about how everything and every decision we make is for our children, and this is another commitment toward making sure that our kids and our children have the best opportunity from the very beginning to be educated, and so that they can develop both personally and professionally in the future. And so I just want to commend those that supported this endeavor and my colleagues that also supported in collaboration to make sure this becomes a reality. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelms. Ms. Bolton.
Yes, ditto to Member Nelms' comments. I also want to add that for me, part of the beauty of this particular levy, if levies can ever have any grace or beauty about them, because we're asking a lot of the people, is the fact that everything that is listed on this sheet and this resolution is something that the community has requested. It's not necessarily what we have demanded of the community. It's not necessarily what we're asking or we determined absolutely was most needed for us to maintain the status quo, but instead it's a levy that is built on what our folks, our families, our community, the leaders of the community across the board have said they want to see for their children and want to see for the future of the region. So I ask that we keep that in mind. It's exciting about the shared vision regarding preschool. It will set us all apart. It's fabulous. But also, too, are all the other items in this levy that speak to preparing our children to be competitive in the world and to make our region just the top region in this country. And I think we're on our way. And I'm just, as much as I hate to pass a levy or ask the people of it, this one I will do with great confidence.
Ms. Bates.
This levy also is a testament to the city of Cincinnati. Our city is growing, our enrollment's growing in the district, and our population is growing within our city. It's not just empty nesters like myself who choose to stay here and help with my grandchildren, but the millennials are coming here. They're coming here for great jobs with our great companies. They're starting up new companies, and they want our services. We need to expand our services and deepen the capacity of what we offer so that we can accommodate the needs and the wants of our children and our families here in the city. So this is not the time where we're looking to remediate. We've done that. We've been working on that for the past 20 years. We are now reaching for the epitome of excellence and also working with the city to improve the economic development picture. Because if we can keep families in this city and educate children at very high levels, we're going to be one of the most important cities in this country.
Thank you, Ms. Bates. Ms. Hoffman?
Yeah, I also want to remind everyone that this is a result of a lot of very careful and deliberate work over a long time. Between our superintendent and our treasurer working so closely with ENY on a study of our books. And these numbers, or the 7.93 mils, weren't just pulled out of the air. That was the result of a lot of work that our administration did, partnering with an organization like ENY to really make sure that our public knows this isn't just things we want, this is also what we need to make sure that we are able to give our kids the education that they need and deserve. It's also the result of studies that Cincinnati Preschool Promise, our partner in this work, have been doing with RAND to really be able to show that this expansion of preschool really does have the power to transform lives for our kids in our community. And so when we combine those things together, and like Board Member Bolton said, the other things in this levy are things our community wants because we know they work, right? We know that these are the things that are going to really make sure that our kids can reach their potential. And then like Board Member Bates said, once our kids reach their potential, our city and our community can reach its potential. So this is a really exciting resolution because it is the culmination of so much work that so many different parties have been doing to bring it together for, as Board Member Nelm says, for our kids. It always comes back to what's right for kids.
Very well. I will have to ditto what I heard my colleagues say. Mr. Nelms will tell us not to reiterate points that have already been made. And so with that said, Ms. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates?
I got it at the end of the other.
Aye.
Ms. Bolton?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Nelms?
Aye.
President Copeland Dansby?
Aye. Mrs. Jones, would, Mrs. Jones, would you please present the resolution for board consideration?
Yes, thank you. I'm honored, actually, to present this award on behalf of, I'm sorry.
It is an award.
It is an award. It is an award. Happy to present this resolution on behalf to the board for consideration, and this is a resolution declaring a shared vision and plan for preschool expansion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion and comments? Well, before we do the discussion and comments, I want to point out a couple things. Since the last time that we were here, just for clarification, I do want to mention that the Cincinnati Preschool Promise has began the process of their 501c3 and are incorporated, and so we've removed the word initiative from the resolution, and I'm sure you've noted that. Also, we've added the word full-time, specifically in front of the phrase that talks about instructors without four-year degrees, and in accordance with the Cincinnati Living Wage Ordinance. And so I wanted to make sure that those things were pointed out. So let's do our famous round robin and take a couple of these whereases, and we'll start with Ms. Bolton.
Cincinnati Public Schools resolution declaring a shared vision and plan for preschool expansion. Whereas the Board of Education has determined the necessity of asking voters to approve an emergency levy at the election to be held in November 2016, and whereas the Board of Education has proposed to apply $15 million annually of the proposed $48 million levy proceeds, less the funds that are needed in the district for preschool expansion, to the expansion of quality preschool through Cincinnati Public Schools and historic community providers starting when levy revenues are received, and
whereas the Board of Education and the Cincinnati Preschool Promise share a vision for the expansion of quality preschool, which includes the following. 1, children and families must have access to high-quality programs, which means tuition assistance will be made available for highly rated programs on a per-pupil basis, starting with the most economically disadvantaged children. Quality improvement funding will be available for non-rated and lower-rated programs to raise these programs to high quality. 2, the district is the established fiscal and taxing agent and will retain fiscal responsibility, authority, and accountability for tax levy revenues. Levy proceeds allocated to preschool expansion will be dispersed transparently and objectively in accordance with the Ohio Public Records and Open Meetings laws, with the flow of dollars dispersed through an agreed-upon budget and reconciliation process.
Item 3, common tuition. Funding would be applied across all preschool providers, both CPS and community providers. CPS and community providers would be compensated at a level that is tied to their quality rating and fits within the annual approved budget. 4, to maximize the number of children who benefit from preschool and to preserve resources for quality improvement, the board and all participating community providers will continue to pursue all private and public funding resources such as Title I and ODE ECE funds, with levy proceeds allocated on a last dollar funding basis, starting with the most economically disadvantaged children. Levy proceeds should not take the place of existing funding.
Number 5, quality is critical for preschool to be impactful. Ensuring a quality preschool experience for children requires providing full-time teachers, good salaries, whether they are in a community or public educational setting. Preschool funding should ensure competitive wages for full-time teachers with comparable credentials, with a rate of at least $15 an hour for full-time instructors without 4-year degrees. This will ensure that participating preschool programs can hire and retain good teachers and provide quality. And whereas, to manage the preschool expansion initiative, the Board of Education seeks to identify a credible organization, which is a local, established, nonprofit, trusted entity, which shall be identified by a request for proposal issued by the Board of Education. This trusted entity will receive the funding from Cincinnati Public Schools that has been identified for the expansion of quality preschool through community providers and will be responsible for managing the funds and program. This trusted entity shall be fully accountable to the Board of Education and thereby to the taxpayers. And
whereas, to enable the trusted entity to manage the funding and the program and provide oversight, the Board of Education proposes that the trusted entity will establish an Ohio nonprofit corporation operating as a public charity under Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code, Preschool Expansion Organization. The trusted entity would become the sole member of the Preschool Expansion Organization and would be responsible for electing a board of directors that is representative of the community and nominated by the Board of Education, the Cincinnati Preschool Promise, and the trusted entity. The trusted entity would provide administrative and financial support to the preschool expansion organization and would contract with the preschool expansion organization to operate the programs. In this way, the preschool expansion organization would be functionally autonomous as a separate nonprofit corporation that is financially accountable to the trusted entity and ultimately the Board of Education. Accordingly, responses to the request for proposal shall include a proposed governance structure for the preschool expansion organization that is representative of the diversity of the CPS community, such as parents and families, labor, business, community, and civic organizations, faith-based organizations, and local service providers. The Board of Trustees should be comprised of the following. 1, 5 individuals nominated by the Board of Education. 2, 5 individuals nominated by the Cincinnati Preschool Promise, and 3, 5 individuals nominated by the trusted entity. And
whereas a Workforce Development Council shall be established by the Board of Education to ensure, without duplication of existing functions, that all preschool providers maintain applicable professional employment standards, livable wages with wage parity, and curricular alignment to state learning standards, and it will monitor and report contract noncompliance to the trusted entity and ultimately the CPS Board. And whereas all contracts and funds disbursed for preschool expansion shall comply with board policies, including Board Policy 2255, Equity and Excellence in Education, Board Policy 6450, Equal and Fair Opportunity in Contract Employment and Business Opportunities, and Board Policy 6320.03, Local Business Enterprise Initiative. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Cincinnati Public Schools directs the administration to develop a request for proposal and take all other necessary steps for the implementation of this shared vision and plan for preschool expansion.
This is a shared vision. A tremendous amount of work has been poured into this resolution and the intent moving forward. And so I do, though, want to hear any comments or discussion from board members, if there is any. Ms. Jones?
I am going to sort of reiterate, sorry, Mr. Nelms, but I feel a need to really mention, and we've talked about this before, this kind of activity has been done across the country. But I believe that this is an opportunity for us to really create systemic change for our children and for our families. And I know that we've already poured our hearts and souls into this, and I'm actually going to frame this because I think this represents a lot of hard work from a lot of people. And in order to get to the goal of what we really want, we really are going to have to almost meld as one and really make this thing happen because nobody can do it like CPS. So I just needed to say that.
I think this, I love the idea of framing this, Ms. Jones. I think that's great because I think this is one of those times where we know that there are systems in our country that are broken, that do not allow everybody to reach their potential. We know one of those systems is access to quality preschool. And so instead of tinkering, instead of adding some seats here or adding some seats there or providing a couple more grants here or providing a couple more grants there, with this community, CPS board, community members throughout Cincinnati who have been working hard for years what the Cincinnati Preschool Promise said was if the system is broken, then we create a new system. That's what we do. And so we are now, this resolution states is that we're going to create a system that is more equitable and that will allow all of our kids, regardless of how much money their parents have in their pocket, to access the same quality preschool. And so that is why this resolution is worthy of being framed.
Ms. Bates?
yes, when we were changing or seeking input from the community and had informational and public engagement sessions on our magnet school policy and proposed policies that we eventually adopted, we had about 7-8 informational sessions. And what happened was that people weren't coming out. There were some people that came out to get more information about K-12 education, but over half the people who showed up were interested in preschool. So this merging of the community effort and the CPS effort is truly driven from the community and the needs of the community and what they told us they wanted. So we're bringing this back to the community, and we're doing this in concert with our partners. And it's going to be a effort that is going to bring Cincinnati into the forefront of not just economic development, education, childhood development, but really this is something that's really new for the country. And we're beginning the leadership right here with our partnership today.
Thank you, Ms. Bolton.
Yes, I'd like to say several things. First, Cincinnati Public Schools has been doing preschool for 50 years, a half a century. We're the largest and high-quality provider, but we also know, and have been for decades, but also know that we could not meet all of the demand alone. So the partnership began to be important and needed, not only in order to expand, but also to make more equitable what we were wanting to do. And I want to commend previous boards. I want to commend previous superintendents and treasurers that even when the state has not provided funding for preschool or all-day kindergarten, and also thank the taxpayers because they've been footing the bill when the state would not meet those demands. So there's been a high priority in this district for a long time for early childhood, and I'm proud of that. I'm also proud that we recognized our limits, and proud too that in Cincinnati, whether you start even as recently as Success by 6 or go way far back, further, there's been a growing interest in quality preschool regardless of income and regardless of zip code. And I think this is, as much as it is historic and transformative and a change, I think it's a new chapter in a long book regarding preschool and education, because our community has come through all the time. And I will also say that I think it's a great credit to Mrs. Ronan, and I will also say that it's a great credit, very frankly, I wouldn't know if I'd be voting this way if I didn't have as much confidence in our treasurer as I do. So there are lots of things that go into this, and it's just remarkable, and I'm excited to be a part of it, and excited to know that we all know in this room the real work is actually just beginning. And thank you to the community that created the groundswell of support for this. Without that, this would be a very difficult thing for us to do. So moving the community fell to others, and we're just we're catching the wave.
You may have noticed that our board member Manera is not present today, but he did send a statement that I would like to read on his behalf. Board member Manera says, "It is really unfortunate that I am unable to attend such an important meeting, but as we all know, that's how it goes sometimes when working in the community. Even though I cannot be at the meeting, I would like to share that I am happy to see these resolutions move forward. I want to express alongside my colleagues my full support as we take this next step in service to the community." Board member Manera. And I did just want to mention how extremely proud I am of the work that has taken place. And if I had to begin to thank people, it would take a really long time. But you know, folks who have been dedicated to the community for years and years, and who have not been deterred by obstacles or what sometimes can be difficult when you're entering into a partnership. And so brilliant minds of folks who I respect very much, who have assured that they are dedicated to our kids. And so the best moment is that this is for our kids, and that this leverages something that we've never been able to do. And I couldn't be more proud of my even personal participation in moving this forward. So I do also want to remind us, this is one prong of our levy. And so coupling this along with the other things that we've mentioned, the workforce readiness, technology, strengthening our neighborhood schools, how exciting this is and what a pivotal time this is for Cincinnati and for the district. So again, thanks to everyone that has put effort into this. So moving forward, we will launch our RFP, and the intent with that, again, just so that everyone is clear, is that this trusted entity will then have the autonomy to be able to manage the preschool expansion organization, or PEO. So, Mrs. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Ms. Bolton.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Copeland Dansby.
Aye. Thank you. I'm gonna stand too. Superintendent Ronan, do you have a report? I just gave you a report.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much. Do I have a motion to approve the revised recommendations of the superintendent?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I wanted to bring light to, was a recommendation last week that didn't allow a full board support or discussion around the hiring of what I felt was one of the most critical hires we could have, and that was the athletic manager. So I did pose some questions, and each of you got a copy of that memo. All those questions had answers that was sufficient for my support and my approval. So I wanted you to know that I approved this hire, but moving forward, there's still some work that we will have to do. And I just want to thank you for your support.
Mr. Nelms. Mrs. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Ms. Bolton.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Copeland Dansby.
I'm going to recuse myself from item number E, the first item in number E. Otherwise, aye. Do I have a motion to approve the revised report of the treasurer?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Wagner, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bates.
Aye.
Ms. Bolton.
Aye.
Mrs. Hoffman.
Aye.
Ms. Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Nelms.
Aye.
President Copeland Dansby.
Aye. Having no other business before,
So sorry.
Ah.
I'm only doing this largely because there's so many of the community folks are here. And it's possible many of us already know this, but as some of you know, the Every Student Succeeds Act requires listening sessions around the state. This is the new federal law that takes the place of No Child Left Behind. And the opportunity that we all have is going to take place on September 29th between 5:30 and 7:30, and it will take place at the United Way of Greater Cincinnati. And we urge everyone to be there to make sure that the interests of urban children particularly and large districts like ours are part of the record. So that's 5:30 to 7:30, September 29th at United Way, and it's a listening session sponsored by the state, and it's required by law that these sessions take place. So please, especially all the folks that have made this happen today, we hope you're there. So
Thank you so
Sorry I didn't
much.
mention it to you.
any other business?
I was just going to say that tomorrow we have that video, and I wanted to make that, the filming of the video, which I think is really cool. So being the kind of person I am, I always notice when I'm being filmed. So just to remind other board members who may have be the same mind as myself.
Awesome.
Yes.
At a minimum, please. Any other business? Having no other business to come before the board, we are adjourned. Thank you so much. What's this thing here?
Oh, here.